Anything else? Mental reps.
This is the Chase and Big Joe Show.
Well, Lottie frickin' dog!
Presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. Release the hounds. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
And good Friday, everybody. Welcome to Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase and Cave. Dr. Frank Frazier on the ones and twos. And we're excited. This entire hour is dedicated to a great color, and that is blue. The Blue Raiders. And we're excited at MTSU to do this special show. And the Director of Athletics, Chris Massaro, joins us now in this beautiful facility. This is my first time here.
Oh,
this
wow.
is so awesome. Looking out over at Floyd Stadium, I mean, you have to be very proud.
We're thrilled, and the building's been great. It's been everything that we've wanted. It's been really gratifying to see it being used. You know, it's in construction and planning space for so long. It was really more of a transition than I thought it'd be to watch it being used and being occupied, and just how people are liking it, and our student athletes are responding to it, from the volleyball team to the soccer team to the football team. I mean, everybody's embraced the building.
So what all, we obviously the SRM Concrete Club is where we are right now, which has got to be busy on game day. What is everything that's in this building? Yeah,
and the first floor is primarily for our student athletes. There's the Kevin Byard Strength and Conditioning room, which is our weight room, and so that's 4 or 5 times the space that we previously had. And so we're able to comfortably work out all of our teams in it. We've actually got another weight room in the Murphy Center, and those guys don't want to lift in there, the basketball guys in particular. But maybe when it starts snowing or it gets cold, they might not want to go outside to come here. So that's on the first floor. We have a nutrition station that's open to all of our student athletes. So we make smoothies and grab and go type stuff, and those kind of things, just chocolate milk and recovery and all those things that are so important to be an elite athlete. And then a training room with everything that you would imagine in there for that all the rehab equipment. We've got hydro pools for rehab. We've got a cold plunge pool. We've got a red light therapy room. We've got a hot pool for therapy. So, wow. I mean, it's a little bit country clubbish, but it's really nice. And again, all of our student athletes have embraced that. And then also on the first floor is our football locker room. Yeah. And they've got their players lounge attached to it. And the players lounge is becoming more and more important than when we designed it, a couple of years ago. But now in the transfer world, where the teams are a lot more transient, you need places for those guys to bond. And so the large locker room, and adjacent to it, the players lounge, where there's some pool tables, there's some recovery chairs, there's some PlayStations and those kind of things that they can just be in there and relax, whether it's between classes, whether it's between practices or commitments, and those kind of things, so they can bond with each other. And that room has become more important than it was even a couple of years ago. Then on the second floor is all of our football operations. So all the football coaches' staffs are up there. That we've got meeting rooms for staffs, meeting rooms for position players. We've got a defensive meeting room. We've got a team meeting room that'll seat 150 people, theater style. And Chase, we've never had that before here. And so that room's going to get used a lot. We had our first all athletic staff meeting where Dr. McPhee and I addressed the group at the start of the school year and set the expectations and those kind of things. And it's just a first-class place to have those kind of meetings as well. Then on the third floor, which is the last floor, what we're sitting in is the SRM Concrete Club. And so this is a place for student athletes to get occasional meals. This is a place that we've sold premium opportunities to watch our 6 football games. We've got 2 suites that are attached to it, outdoor patio suites that are fantastic viewing and just to enhance the game day experience. And, despite our result, which was hugely disappointing on Saturday, the people did say, man, with the field and the building was a new look for the Blue Raiders, and so we just need to capitalize on that momentum going forward and help us build this football program.
We're talking to MTSU Athletic Director Chris Massaro. So we've talked before. You're on the College Football Playoff Committee.
Yeah.
You love football. You watch
do.
football anyway. Are you watching it different this year because you are on the committee?
Yeah, you do watch it a little bit differently, and I've got such a great wife. She's a sports fan too, and so there was something that had to be done in the yard. I think it was like on Sunday, and I'm catching up watching games, and I said, no, I'll go take care of it. She said, no, you watch football. And I'm like thinking, man, this is like every guy's dream. So I could just hang out and watch football.
Yes.
And so that's what I've done. And they give you a little iPad and the catapult system, which is like the coaches' films. And I could also watch TV copies off of that, and you can fast forward through some of the commentary by these color commentators. You can just zip right through.
I would too. Those guys.
So yeah, they don't know, and so I've watched a ton, and I think I watched like 21 games.
Wow.
From last week. I'm supposed to be. Part of my assignment is to be a group of 5 expert. So I've always watched a lot of group of 5 games just to see how we measure up. And then I'm a secondary person for the Mountain West and have the primary person for the Independents. So that's UConn and Notre Dame. So it's fun watching those teams.
Good Lord, you got a lot going on there. When is your first meeting with them in person?
Well, yeah, we've had 2 meetings. We had one in April in Chicago, and that was more just get to know you kind of thing. And then we had one in August in Colorado Springs, and that was more, here's the technology, here's the expectations, here's the creed, here's, and what they've drilled in those 2 meetings is our obligations to get it right. Leave your logos at the door. And our obligation to the American sporting public is we're gonna do as much homework as we can. We're gonna dig into it. There's 13 of us. All of us will have different opinions. Your voices need to be heard, and then discussed and vetted, and those kind of things. And our obligation to college football is to get it right. And I believe in that mission. And we've got great leadership with Rich Clark who runs it. And then the chair of our committee is Mac Rhodes, who's the AD at Baylor, and he's provided tremendous leadership. So we'll have one more meeting in October, and that'll be sort of a mock how we do things and how you vote and those kind of things. And then at the beginning of November, we'll meet weekly, and that's when you'll see the top 25 coming out. So they want you to come to those meetings fully prepared, that have your own top 30. And so have those, and then have them alphabetized. And so I would have never thought to alphabetize them, because when they start saying, like I can handle Air Force, but maybe Nebraska might be a little bit different in the alphabet. And so you can kind of keep track of what's going on, and you can always tell. They said you can always tell who's forgotten to alphabetize, because those guys are kind of scrambling around a little bit. So and then that's when the discussion begins, and so that first rankings and like the first week of November will be a really fun and learning experience.
Oh, I'm sure. What advice have you gotten from those that were on the committee? I know you got to have a thick skin. I mean, you have to. Is anybody giving you any advice?
Yeah, they do. And to do your homework. That's the biggest thing. Come prepared. And I've told everybody on the committee, I don't think they're going to find anybody that's going to work harder than me.
Good.
So that hopefully that's not a concern as it relates to Chris Massaro, because I will be prepared. I will be watching the games, all those kind of things. And then, to try to do your best to get it right. And then don't be on social media for a couple days when it gets announced. And there were there have been times where that there's been some serious threats against committee members on that final December and those kind of things. But I think that's maybe with a 12-team playoff, maybe that's a little bit less. So we'll see. You're going to make somebody happy. You're going to make somebody mad. The margins are really small when you start talking about really good football teams, which to be in the top 20, you're a good football team, and so the margins are there, and everybody will come at it with a little bit of a different opinion.
Chris Massaro is with us, the athletic director here at Middle Tennessee State University. Obviously, we have Coach Mason coming up. I know things were disappointing on Saturday, but you now have that opportunity to respond.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how I try and look at things. And I think going into a Big Ten school, a place like Camp Randall, that kind of atmosphere is a great place to respond. How do you kind of view that? It's a road trip. Road trips are good. Coaches like road trips. What's kind of the AD's point of view there?
Yeah, I think that you're excited to play that game. I mean, your players love those games. Coaches not so much, but the players love those games, and so it'll be a fun and it'll be a memory that they'll have their whole career. And so my thing is, let's make those positive memories. I mean, let's go out and compete, and let's hold up, and let's have some structure, and those kind of things. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the grit, and that kind of thing, because we got some sand kicked in our face. There's no getting around that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a competitor, how do you react? And there's not much good news. I don't want to make it sound Pollyanna, but the one of the good news of this is we've got 11 more opportunities to kind of erase that memory. I can't be like Men in Black with that little thing. I would love to be able to do that, where we could just erase that memory. But we've got 11 opportunities to do that, and so we triple bogeyed the first hole, but we can still win the golf tournament, and so. We just have to play the second hole a little bit better,
right?
Than the third hole, and get our composure and just find out who we are and how we play and those kind of things. It's so let's. I think you find out a lot about a team, and everybody goes through adversity. And man, we got hit with a ton of adversity the first Saturday. So let's see how we all react. Let's see how the players react. Watch the coaches and how they react. I've been out to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and so they're jumping around, and we got the stadium noise,
right.
And they are jumping around because that's the song that's playing, and so so let's go out and compete, and let's go see what let's like Bill Belichick said about his team. He thinks that they're better than what they showed, and I've looked at that game 3 times now on tape and just in its entirety, and so just to see for myself, and there were plays there that could be made, and we just didn't make them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we dropped it, whether we overthrew it, like particularly offensively, we never got a rhythm. We never got in sync, and for whatever reason. And so that's what I want to see is this kind of this rhythm. I think defensively we held up okay in the second half. I mean, we weren't great, but I thought our defensive line kind of dominated, and we held them a little bit and that kind of thing to give our offense a chance to get us back into the game. So hopefully offensively we'll play much better.
I'm good.
He's Chris Massaro, the athletic director here at MTSU. Hey, we're excited. We're also excited to be traveling and representing the Blue Raiders at Wisconsin.
Go eat some cheese curds up there, right?
Yes.
Chase?
Little cheese curds.
Yeah, a little
spotted cow. I'm excited about that.
It'll be good. You're going to be our good luck charm. I think the players are going to rub the top of your head.
Let's go. Hey, whatever they need to do.
We go out there.
Right.
But it'll be a great trip, a great environment. It's a great opportunity. And we're so happy that you guys are there. So yeah, thank you for taking time and coming with us.
Absolutely. We'll continue with our Blue Raiders special. The head coach, Derek Mason, will join us coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, live today on the campus of MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University. Our Blue Raiders special this hour, and we continue with the head coach of the Blue Raiders, Derek Mason. We say hello now to Derek Mason, head coach of the Blue Raiders, here with us. Coach, what's up? How you doing?
Man, I've been in the lab. I've been down there with our coaches, man, on a Wednesday. Man, looking at this Wisconsin tape, man, and making sure, man, that we got the right stuff, man, to try to get ourselves up to Madison and go play well.
So I heard a high school coach say one time after a tough loss for his team, he said, you know, he's meeting with the guys after the game and they're upset and, you know, disappointed. And he says, you guys have an opportunity that you haven't had this year.
Yeah.
That is the response. What's the response going to be? What are you going to learn from this, take from this, and use at the next game? And that's always stuck with me because that's more than just a coach thing to say. Like that is like you can do that with anything in life of now you got the response. So what's that going to be? So how do you look at that as, you know, it obviously it was not what anybody wanted Saturday, but going into Wisconsin, a tough place to play in the Big Ten, now your guys have an opportunity to respond.
That's right. Wisconsin doesn't care.
Yeah, right.
Wisconsin doesn't care about the troubles or issues of the Blue Raiders. And with that, I think like this, right? I mean, in a game one, you know, you don't minimize it. Yeah, I mean, are you a little perturbed, a little upset, a little pissed off? Absolutely. But here's the thing, right? I mean, like there's lessons in it. Mm-hmm. And so you got to grab the lessons. Otherwise, man, it's just a loss that can compound itself. And so when you looked at it, not a fast start, like didn't play well, you know, offensive early, defensively, you know, just some miscues, not being able to get off the field. Parson did a really good job, you know, playing off schedule a little bit, and you get behind. And then all of a sudden, man, you get an opportunity to put some points up, and you learn from that a little bit. You come out, and you have a chance to get off the field, and there's something there for you, right? Remember, we get penalized, and it keeps going. So, you know, when you look at the game, you go back, man, there were tick marks. It's like the consistency of what you got to do offensively. It's, you know, like defensively, hey, you lose a couple of players, man, but what you got to do, man, is continue to find ways to get off the field. And that's this quality, this strain, this play-to-play mentality of doing the 5 feet in front of you. Yeah. I think sometimes guys get caught looking in the rearview mirror, and none of that really matters. The only thing you can do is work on the 5 feet in front of you. And so, you know, with that being said, there was a lot to pull from this game. Just so much so as a coach, man, that it was almost heavy to unpack. But what I will say is that, you know, in getting to it, you know, Sunday comes, Monday comes, and then Tuesday you're right back on the grass. And so you got to move fast because with 11 contests left, you can't afford any more, you know, learning lessons. You won't win.
Well, and when you watch the tape, I don't know if you probably watched it Saturday night or Sunday morning, what disappointed you more than anything else?
I thought how we started this thing, the kickoff to the college football season. And listen, things can happen, right? I do get things that happen, but man, but if you tell me that I'm going to have, you know, man, a quarterback in Nick Vattiato, you know, man, get the ball first. Okay, man, at home, I definitely expected to go down and score, right? And so when that didn't happen, it was like, okay, well, we'll get it next run. But you just kept seeing the lack of strain and finish, whether it was a missed throw or a drop pass or a play not made. You know, it leads to 0-12. You don't get to 0-12 in one play. You get to 0-12 over a series of plays, right?
Yeah.
And so I think all of it for me was just like, okay, practicing well, having great game plans really doesn't mean anything, man. You got to perform.
Right.
And that's what it came down to. So as we talked again, it's like, listen, I care about the performance. Okay, so we have to perform. Okay, I mean the practice stuff. I mean you got to do that, and you did that well. But we can't have performance anxiety. That's part of what college football is. So let's be better in the spaces that we're in. And I tell you what, they all have responded. But now, man, you got a little tougher challenge. But you know, the tougher the challenge, the greater the opportunity.
Yeah, I love the psychology of coaching. Look, every coach has been on both sides of that. You've won, you've lost. Every night. Hell, Vince Lombardi was bad starting out.
Right.
So how do you minimize the frustration and still coach at the same time? Because I'm telling you, got some talented guys on this team. I'm telling you right now, you got some talented guys on this team. How do you minimize the frustration and say, look, we still believe in you?
Well, it's proximity versus presence. See, you can be in proximity and just allow things to happen, or you can be present and you can be with them.
Mm-hmm.
See, like, you got to be in it with them, because if they feel like it's you against them and not you with them,
yeah,
but then you lost them.
That's right.
Okay, so the idea is that, hey, man, what did we do? Okay, how do we make it better? Okay, well then let's get back to, like, what it takes to make it better. And it's the work, it's the challenge, it's the expectation, it's this idea of accountability. Like, when you look at it, like, sometimes what happens is do you trust the process? Do you respect the process? Okay, is your effort at a fever pitch?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when we talk about accountability, are you willing to hold the man next to you accountable? Because when you looked at it, okay, it happened and you didn't say anything. Well, if you didn't say anything, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. And then it's the discipline in what we do to not fall to the lowest level of your training. Okay, prepare and always try to be at the highest level of it, because, like, in situations, that's what we fall back on.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Talking to MTSU football coach Derek Mason here on the Chasing Big Joe show. How do you? I always like to ask this question. How do you prepare for 90,000 screaming fans?
We had so much crowd noise. I don't know if you heard it where you lived, but I tell you what, I got jump around and full crowd noise still blaring in my ear. It's been that way. It's been that way the last couple of days. Actually, the defensive staff towards the end of practice came over to me and said, "Hey, coach, they're not going to be playing that when we're up.
Right?
Can we get some of that turned down?" So I said no, we'll turn it down on Thursday. So Thursday's the day that they'll have very little crowd noise. But I just want them to get used to, what that atmosphere is going to be like. It's going to be rocking. It's going to be loud. It's going to be great energy. And within all that, man, you still have to make sure that you can control your focus.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
Have you coached there before?
Haven't coached there before. I've coached against Wisconsin a couple of times in bowl games, but never. Now, I do have two sister-in-laws, man, who are from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So I've been to Green Bay, I've been to Madison, but never to coach or play in a game.
What do road trips do for a team? Like, I feel like, and I know it's it's a quick one, it's kind of an overnight thing, but I feel like there's something to that.
Road trips sometimes road trips allow you to be sort of naive in the moment, right, man? Because you don't get to think about all these other things going on, right? You go, you get to the hotel, man. You're in a new environment. You do this. You have your meetings. You go to bed. You wake up. You play, okay, and then it's on. So you're just like naive in the process of it. So the focus tends to be a little more on point. Okay, when you're on the road, to me, home, man, there's just a lot of stuff. Are your parents coming in, your tickets, your this, your that, man. You got a lot of stuff going on. But when you're on the road, it's just you guys. It's you. It's like 300. Like the movie 300 while we're in, right? It's you only. You may have a couple folks, that's great, but when you go up against like the Persians, okay, it's just gonna be you and your squad against the 90,000, 100,000. So let's get ready.
I love that. In college one time, we got our butt kicked really bad, and our coach said to us after the game, "I'm going to tell you I love you, but in a different way." Yeah. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah. I still love you, but I'm going to tell you in a different way.
Yeah, and that becomes the truth, right? That's the truth piece, right? Because I love you. You never stop loving, like the players you coach, the young men that you're responsible for.
Right.
You never stop loving them. But when you have to talk about points, when you have to talk about sort of how things happen in life, regret comes at you in one of two ways. Okay, there's the regret of hey man, I'm glad I did, or I wish I would have.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
that's right.
Like some people look at it and say, what? Hey, man, I'm glad I did that. You know what? I mean, it was pretty good for me. Other people look at it and say, you know what, man, I'll never get that one back. We don't get Austin Peay back, but we do have an opportunity to go to Wisconsin and play the Badgers in Camp Randall, which will be electric. And, we we talked a little bit amongst the coaching staff about, the 2012 team, Kevin Byard being a freshman. What happened to that team? Man, when they lose to McNeese, then they have to turn around. They have to play Memphis and then Georgia Tech. And, like that's sort of how you have to respond. The resilience of the great thing about football is that you get one every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so like this turnaround, man, you got to look forward, man. You got to pull this thing forward. And right now, this group, like to me, Monday was hard because it was a holiday and, guys are sort of in their feeling. Sunday was really hard, but then Monday was hard, right? Because, it's sort of a holiday, no class, and they're sort of stewing in it. And then we came back on Tuesday and the work had to be done. So that's where we are right now. The heavy work, the heavy lifting's been done on a Wednesday. Now everything is above the neck and polishing, getting ready, like to go on the road. And what I can tell you is they've got some players on that side that we have to be aware of. But I thought some guys played extremely well. Our D-line played well, okay, man, and we needed them to play well like last week. Guys like DeMonte and, Anthony Bynum and Shakai Woods, Zion Simpson, got 35 reps in that ball game. Like to me, I saw the interior D-line play as well as I've seen. We got to hold up on the edges a little bit. We got to build some edges and make sure we can be top down, because if we can do that, it gives us a chance, and all you want is an opportunity.
Right.
Sure.
All you want is an opportunity.
That's it.
Well, you'll get it coming up on Saturday. We're looking forward to it. I'll be on the trip this week, so it'll be fun.
I like it.
Go up there and cheer you guys on. So thanks so much for doing this. I know you got some meetings, but we'll see you Saturday.
Chase, Big Joe, man, it's always good to be around you guys. You guys get it. You understand what it is. And you know what, man, we got to bring one home for you. So let's go Blue.
Coming up next, we talk to the general manager of the Blue Raider football team, Dana Marquez. He's on the other side of this Blue Raider special. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Coming up this Sunday, join Chase McCabe and Big Joe Dubin
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Friday. We are at MTSU. We're getting ready to head to Madison, Wisconsin, as the Blue Raiders will take on the Badgers. But continuing our special here with Dana Marquez, who is the Associate AD of Equipment and Football General Manager. How about that? I got the title right.
That works. Thank you very much.
I think you're kind of like me. You just answered anything, like whatever needs to be done.
My entire career has been that way.
So the whole general manager thing in college football, I feel is fairly new. I know that a lot of programs have kind of started that with the NIL and the transfer portal and different ways of acquiring players. So how has that role evolved since you've started?
I think that even for me as a general manager at MTSU is completely different than an Andrew Luck at Stanford.
Yeah, right.
And you look around the country, even in our own conference, we have this little chat group with all the GMs and everything else, and everybody comes from a different and diverse background of what they've done in the past or so on and so forth. I think I'm the only equipment guy across all platforms that has done this, but I'm also the only business owner that has done it. So a lot of these guys are looking at it from strictly a football acquisition portion. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of business operation. So I'm looking, how do we generate revenue to support our athlete, but how do we get our athlete to understand what that short-term revenue that we're providing can generate for them in a business structure, which is name, image, and likeness, right?
Right.
If I ask Andrew Luck what his deal is, he's going to call plays, he's going to be on the field, he's going to be kind of managing the team and those types of things. It's a completely different platform. I have an entire recruiting and scouting department on staff. Those guys are responsible for doing those items and then get that information to the coaching staff. And for me, it's sitting back and looking at, okay, do we have the funds to do this? Where do we want to put our funds? So we need an offensive line. So do we want to spend 21% of our cap on the offensive line, or do we want to spend 5% of this cap on the offensive line? How valuable are they to our community, which is a little different, because I think a lot of people are looking at strictly football.
Yeah.
And these kids, I think there's a lot of myths where these kids are here to play football. They're also still here to get an education. And I think it's extremely important for MTSU to understand that it's extremely important to Coach Mason and myself and the rest of the coaching staff that our football team has a very much a community feel, and that they really want to play for the borough and do those things. And you saw that a little bit over the weekend with the team selling tickets to the first game, which was kind of great. And their section sold out, which was phenomenal. They did a great job of doing that. And what they learned there is they're their own little company, and they have an opportunity to do little things for the community and grow. And even during the recruiting process, when I came in, I guess 8 months ago, that was a conversation we had with agents. It was a conversation we had with parents. And I think it really resonated with them that we just weren't going to pay you to play football. Right. And that's not really what this is supposed to be anyway. But obviously we signed the number one class coming out of that process. And I think it resonated with parents. It resonated with agents that we're here to help the student athlete with this process. I think that's where my business background comes into play. And even though I've been around it for a long, long time, 30 plus years, it is a little different look at what the rest of the country is doing.
We're talking to Dana Marquez. He's the general manager. And I love saying that, general manager of the MTSU football team. It sounds different, when you say that way, because we didn't have, like Chase said, there was no GMs around forever. What's the best part of your job? What do you like the best?
Right now, I would say the best part of my job is just getting to know the kids and seeing what their future can be, right? If it's the NFL, how are we going to help them do that, right? Listening to them, what their business structure is. I have players on our team that have their own apparel company and doing great. So it's listening to that and seeing what it's all doing. Now it's trying to take that piece of information and how do you turn it on its head, right? Why do we have to do what everybody else is doing? I've been asked this question so many times. Well, Dana, how are you guys following WKU, or what are you doing at Liberty, or what all these other people are doing? I go, I don't work for any of those schools. So it doesn't matter to me. So how do we, as a program, as an athletic department, turn it on its head to make MTSU understand it's a community base. It's a small community. How do we drive that interest? How do we drive that demand? And then take our athletes and show them what happens when they get involved. Those are the exciting parts of what I have going right now.
So when the Tennessee situation with their quarterback Nico wanting more money, that would not be your world, would it, or is it?
It is.
Okay.
It is kind of my world, but it's also an explanation to that, right? We had a recruit come in, say, hey, we're going to get this much money. I'm like, hey, look, I get it. I understand. We're not going to offer that. I go, but I will tell you this. And I go, here's what you have to ask. Here's our plan. And I give them a plan. I give them, hey, here's where our attack implications will be. Here's what we're going to do when you get here. Here's how this is going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. You go to that school and you go ask for as much money as you want. Just know they're probably not going to have a plan for you. They're just going to throw out a number. See what happens. Well, 3 weeks later, I get a phone call. Recruit says, hey, they didn't have a plan and they didn't offer me the money. I said, that's too bad, man. What do you want us to do? Well, I really feel comfortable in what you guys laid out there. That's great. I go, yeah, but that plan has changed, right?
Yeah.
Because you just played us.
Right.
So now I get to get back in my business world and say, okay, well, it was going to give you this,
Right.
but now I'm going to give you this.
I love
Who
this.
is it? Who is it that said yesterday's offer is not today's offer? Or
So
something?
yeah, so you go back to the old movie Draft Day when he goes, "We live in a different world than we did 30 seconds ago." So,
this is great.
So that's a little different, right? I've never had have those type of conversations, but it makes sense, and you really want the athlete to understand. One of the big things we ask, and I know I ask this a lot of people, why MTSU? If you don't know your why you want to attend MTSU and why you don't want to play football here, that's going to be really hard for me to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to offer you this much money. Like I know a little bit about it. It's like when you go on an interview and you don't know anything about your school, you don't know anything about your job, you don't know anything. Like, but pay me $100,000.
Right.
It's like let's not do that, right? And those are things that we're teaching our athletes, right? Is when I had an athlete walk up to me and goes, Dan, I want NIL money. I said, cool. Put a business plan together and bring it back to me.
Right. And that I think is
never saw it again.
That's preparing them for after football.
Yeah, and that's it, and I try to explain to these guys, it's short-term money.
Yeah,
it is very short-term, and the money that we are providing you, there are some advantages to that and those types of things. But what are you going to do with it in 5 years?
Right.
And because after 5 years, you may not be playing in the NFL, you may not be doing this, you may be looking for a job and those types of things. So what are we doing as a football program to help our athlete? And that's still kind of our core value, right? Is to make sure our student athlete understands that, yes, we want to be successful on the football field. Yes, we want you to be successful in the classroom, but more importantly, we want you to be a young, successful young man when you leave MTSU.
I'm fascinated by this and I think this is great what you all are doing, because I think everyone's afraid to say, to whatever school it is, that a majority of the guys that are on that team aren't going to play on Sundays. So that's just the reality of it. And just like there's a ton of high school kids that aren't going to play on Saturdays.
Correct.
So how much of the discussion is more of the future and not so much the now of saving up and being smart and investing in the right things and being with the right people? Because I feel like that's just as important as, hey, what can you do for me right now?
Those are my daily talks, right? Those are my weekly talks. I have my own little culture group that I meet with weekly, and those are things that we talk about. I've spent time in the NFL, and I remember when I was at the Atlanta Falcons, and it's a scary moment when you sit there and Mike Smith comes over. He goes, "Hey, Danny, go clean out his locker," and we're still in the middle of practice. And you get done, and the player comes off the field, and all of his stuff's sitting in a bag at the front desk. He goes, "What happened?" I go, "You've been cut. Sorry." I go, "Your stuff's at the front desk. Your keys there." And these kids don't see that. They don't understand that portion of how that is strictly a business. And here you're sitting here, guys. You're trying to treat it like a business. Like, hey, look, I'm going to fine you if you don't dress right. No, you can't do that, right? So you're trying to say, hey, look, what can we do to help you? So punishment is not part of the project. education is part of the project. Hey, look, you didn't do this right. Here's what we want you to do, and this is the end result. And I think that those are daily conversations you have to have with every athlete that you have. I don't get to every single one of them, but I'm in the locker room more times than not. I'm probably in there more than any coach, because my office with the equipment room being down there and my office up on the second floor, I spend a lot of my time in the locker room just kind of seeing what the players are doing. Because there's one thing I've learned in my 30 plus years of being an equipment guy across the NFL and everybody else. Players act like players and like themselves in a locker room. Once you move them up to the second floor, it's a yes sir, no sir.
Yeah.
They completely change,
Mm-hmm.
right? I get to see them and I get to make fun of them. They get to make fun of me, and it's a good camaraderie. So when I get asked by a scout, this is kind of unique. When I get asked by a scout from an equipment structure standpoint, Dana, what's he like? We don't talk football. It's like, well, no, he's kind of a knucklehead, right? Or he's a young kid. He's immature, so on and so forth. I had a player at Auburn, and the New England Patriots scout asked me, Dana, if you gave him $1 million, what would happen? I go, he'd blow it in about 2 days. There's no doubt.
Right.
I go, but he loves football and he's passionate. I don't know that helps you, right? Because if he's immature inside of a locker room amongst a bunch of men and he just doesn't know how to act, giving him a lot of money is probably not a good thing,
Right.
Right.
no matter how good of a football player he is. So the one thing I tell our kids is, like, I'm never going to lie for you, because that's on me.
Yeah.
If I go tell an NFL scout, dude, this guy's the best thing since sliced bread, and you get up there and you just blow up, like, Danny, you said this guy was this. I'm like, yeah, that's on me.
That's right. Yeah.
You just can't do those things. And that's what you try to have those conversations daily with those kids, of just saying, this is real life. This is really what's going on.
I love it. This is not a question, but I would love to sit with you sometime. And I'm sure your eye rolls when some of these kids have asked you for money. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You don't have to answer that question, but
Right.
I just know it's happened. And I find it fascinating because, this is great. I had no idea for this. I think you're a wonderful asset to the program. And thank you. This is great.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Dana, thanks so much for joining us. We
Sure.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Dana Marquez, who is the let's do the full title, Associate AD of Equipment and Football General Manager, joining us here on our Blue Raider special. We'll have more coming, including the voice of the Blue Raiders, Chip Walters. That is next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Friday. We are about to head to Madison, Wisconsin. So we are excited about that as the Blue Raiders will take on the Badgers coming up tomorrow. And you can hear it all on Totally Hits 93.3, pregame at 1:30. And then kickoff will be around 3 o'clock at Camp Randall. The man that'll be on the call alongside you, Big Joe, Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, joins us now. What's up, Chip?
Doing good. And I was counting the other day. There are two things I counted. Number one, how many of the current 1A or FBS programs have I ever seen play in person?
Oh, cool.
It was like 89 out of 136. So in my career, I've been able to see that many in person. The other is what's really odd this year is we will be in 4 stadiums that we've never broadcast from before.
Ooh.
Or at least me, Wisconsin, Nevada, Kennesaw, because we haven't played there in football. I've been there in basketball, and Delaware. Although Middle played at Delaware in the 70s, but we've not been up there, obviously, in a while. So it's really weird for me to add 4 new stadiums to the list that I've been fortunate to see over the years.
Are there ones that, like, to me, Camp Randall's exciting. Like it's you know, jump around and there's you know, it just, I'm excited to experience that because I've grown up in the SEC and, you know, SEC environments. To experience a Big Ten, I think it's going to be kind of cool. So do you go through that?
Yeah, I mean, I get excited every week. I mean, it doesn't matter really where it's at, but you know, there's some that stick out over time where you've been to for one reason or another. I mean, we played a night game at LSU, which was and back then they had Mike the Tiger's cage parked right by the visitors' locker room, and when the guys would come out, they would be poking him with sticks, and so he'd be all upset. But I remember, you know, vividly the view we had at BYU, or we played at Texas A&M in the early '90s, and to be there when the Corps cadets came in. And then, you know, in our era now of being in the group of 5, to see people who've opened up new stadiums. It was a big deal when we opened up this new stadium in '99 or '98, and but North Texas has a great new place to play. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what Charlotte looks like this week because they're going to host North Carolina on their campus, not at the NFL stadium. So they've brought in temporary seating there, but there's there's a lot of fun stuff because, you know, fortunately, since I've been working on the broadcast since '91, we have played at every SEC school except Auburn, which is on the schedule here in the next couple of years. We've not been to Texas since they came in, but everybody else, Arkansas, Missouri, Florida, Kentucky, you know, you name it, we've been there. And so we've been to some really good places that had great atmospheres. But Wisconsin is one of those that if you're a football junkie, that's one that you'd like to see for sure.
Yeah, we're talking to Chip Walters. I think you're the best voice in college football because I'm biased like that. Tell me about.
I pay you to say that. So.
Tell me about the Sam Houston press box.
It's not as it's kind of this year I don't know what it looks like this year because they're not playing at home.
Right,
they're playing at a soccer stadium in Houston where the Dynamos play. Yeah. But you know, at their stadium on their campus. Hopefully it's part of what's being renovated because it was about, I don't know, about the size of a closet, something not very big.
I felt like we're on a Southwest flight.
Yeah.
It's kind of bunched up together.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there. If somebody were to tell you your favorite football moment at Middle Tennessee State, what is it?
There was when we beat Western maybe in triple overtime here that night, you know, and we won. You know, it was like sudden victory. Obviously, the big pass play at
Miami.
I go back to one play that turned the first New Orleans Bowl game around when Alex Suber intercepted the pass against Southern Miss that turned that game around. But there was a moment I go back to as a student and was at a 1AA playoff game at Indiana State where Middle blocked an extra point in the third overtime to beat the number 1 ranked team in the country in the playoffs, 42-41 in triple overtime. But there were a lot of those back through the years, and but the Idaho game on this field, where Middle won 72-56 one night, and West Count set the single game passing record and still got outthrown by Idaho's quarterback by 250 yards. Brian Lindgren threw for over 700 that night, and in a losing effort. And West threw for 459 that night, and but just there's in the Sun Belt and Conference USA, both very offensive leagues. There are nights when it can be like arena football, and we've seen it. But I hope that the absolute best moments are yet to come, Joe.
Oh, yes, good answer.
That is a great answer. So looking at this matchup, Danny O'Neill is going to be the quarterback for Wisconsin. It looks like their starter, Billy Edwards, is not going to play. So what kind of, advantage and also a disadvantage, because that wasn't the guy that you were thinking you're going to see last week, even though he did play quite a bit. Does that give the Blue Raiders?
Yeah, I don't think Wisconsin's one of those that's going to change their spots a whole lot, because I think what we need to expect is a Big Ten offensive line that's going to try to mash it and try to dominate the line of scrimmage. What can we do? And I thought we were probably our best position group on this past Saturday might have been the interior defensive line. Between the tackles, I thought we played pretty well and didn't allow much. They got to the outside, but I'm not sure that changing quarterbacks is going to be a huge deal. You can always expect the tight end to be good. I need to check and see if O'Neill was on the San Diego State roster that we played in the Hawaii Bowl 3 years ago. That would be interesting to see, because and we end up winning that bowl game against them. But defensively, they did not give up a third down conversion. In Middle on this past Saturday, one of the things that jumped off the stat sheet is we were unable to convert a third down, 0 for 12, and combined third and fourth downs, 1 for 16. That has got to be better. And talking to Derek Mason on Monday night or Tuesday night on his radio show this week, and I went back to when we did our keys to the game last week, Joe, before, is that third down is always such a stat that everybody looks at. But, to me, the reason third down was poor is we were not very good on first and second down.
Right.
And you've got to put yourself in a better position to where you're 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 8 or 9. And so I think Middle's got to find a way to stay ahead of the chains, play another clean game, from a turnover standpoint, because they didn't turn the ball over, did not have many penalties, had 2 that cost them. But I think you go up there and play with a little chip on your shoulder after last week, and try to get some of that back.
It's fun.
an effort to get rid of it,
right,
sooner than they did, and they didn't. What's funny is they talked about one of the Eagles' offensive linemen was kind of like, I hate running it because it takes so much out of you. But they realize how effective it is.
I'm thinking that's the most successful play in the history of football. I can't think of one that comes that close. It's always successful. A quarterback sneak, a lot of times the quarterback gets it, he steps to his right and goes, and they clog that hole. And then the quarterback started jumping over the top, and the linebacker would just submarine that way and go. This way, you just get behind your center and push forward, and it's all the placement of the ball. So if you could slide the ball out there a little bit, and you're not trying to get 2 yards, but 11 inches, you get it done. They'll never ban it, and that's the way it is now. It's what's going to be.
One time we had Kelly Holcomb on, and we talked about quarterback sneaks and why more teams don't run it more. And he was like, man, I hate the quarterback sneak because that's how the quarterback gets hurt.
No, I would punch you nonstop.
Yeah.
I would punch you nonstop.
He said every time
you.
The coordinator called a quarterback sneak, he was like, why? Why are you doing this to me?
Oh, I just think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to stick around for a while, and then you eventually try to figure it out. But right now, nobody's been able to figure it out. And last night it worked to perfection. The colleges are doing it too, and it's funny because why wasn't this around 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago? Because it's so simple of a play to get that yard.
But I didn't think the Eagles won the game. They looked good. AJ Brown, no targets. I mean, he was a non-factor, which was kind of interesting.
Right.
I know he's been dealing with the hamstring, but still, I thought he was in the game, so I was very surprised they didn't really throw his way.
I'm expecting a tweet or some sort of.
I know.
Because I don't think that dude's all there. Of, hey, look at me, and I'm going to be away from the team, other side of the bench, not talk to people because I wasn't in the game, blah, blah, blah. I'm waiting on that. It's still early.
Do you think that Amy Adams Strunk said to somebody last night, see, I told you. I told you we did right.
I don't think you watched a second of that game last night. Too busy counting billions. It's like, oh, I'll catch it later. I'll catch it on TiVo later on.
TiVo. That's good. But the NFL season is underway, and then we got another one tonight on everything's on YouTube these days. We got the NFL with Kansas City and San Diego. So
it's funny when I turn on, I have YouTube TV. I love YouTube TV. When I turn on now, the first 6 channels are how to order the game tonight or how to watch it in 4K or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand that. Not a fan of it. Of the opening game, I just put it on regular TV.
It's free.
Yeah,
it is free. All you have to do is log on to YouTube. You don't have to have YouTube TV. You just go to YouTube and you can watch it.
I get it, and they're paying tens of millions for it. I understand all that, but I'm not a fan of the game starting in Brazil. Just not.
Yeah.
A division game like that. We'll ask John his thoughts about that too coming up, but I just don't like a division game starting in Brazil. If that game is in SoFi or Arrowhead, it'd be fantastic.
Sure. I agree. Okay. So this is an interesting discussion here because I have a different perspective of it. We talked to Jeff Jarrett about it yesterday about the European crowds with pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And WWE just did a tour in Europe, and the crowd was just electric.
Oh yeah.
More than I've ever seen. And it's because they don't get it a lot. So they're obviously showing the appreciation for it. And I think it's the same thing with these international markets with the NFL. So I certainly respect it and get it and think there's a place for it. It's now to make it all work, you're taking away from your true fans here.
Yep.
Like you're taking
100%.
I don't know who the home team is tonight. I think Kansas City's the home.
No
so
idea.
you're taking a game from Arrowhead, and yes, you have the extra game now, and they're gonna add 18 games and all that stuff. But the thing is, there's no perfect way to do it. If they want to, unless they make a international division.
Well, I just read the players reading about this don't like it. It's the opening game.
They don't like Brazil. Yeah, they don't want to.
Just a long travel over there.
Yeah.
I don't think they're really loving going to Europe for the most part. I mean, I know it's a charter flight and you got your own row, and yeah, I get all that, but I just think the opening game, it would be so electric tonight. Have that game in Arrowhead or Los Angeles to start off the season, and so not a fan of it. But again, nobody asked me.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you're taking away, it's a Friday night, you're taking away from high schools. And I know how you feel about that.
Get me going on that too as well.
And I mean, there's some college games tonight too, but just kind of is what it is. So that one is tonight. The NFL is truly underway. The Titans will play on Sunday. And we have talked about that ad nauseum. I mean, there's really nothing else. I mean, you and I got to do it for 2 hours on Sunday, but there's really nothing else to break down. You just got to go in there and play your best, see what you got. I mean, I think there continue to be concerns on offense, defense, all those things, but it's the Cam Ward show, and it officially begins on Sunday. Speaking of the pregame show, Big Joe and I will be at Twin Peaks in Madison. You can come out and watch NFL games this Sunday at Twin Peaks in Madison, and we'll be there hosting the pregame show from 1 to 3 prior to the Titans season opener against the Broncos. Pregame is brought to you by Parma Tractor and Equipment, Old National Bank, Circa Sportsbook Kentucky, and Tennessee Brew Works. We'll have more on the Titans coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe on this Friday, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 102.5 The Game.
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos on this Friday. Titans, Broncos coming up this weekend. But first, you kind of teased something to me during the break that got me laughing on ticket prices for something.
Well, we talk about if I can't afford my family to go, ticket price are so expensive. There's one game, and I'm reading this. It's a third party, but it's ticket prices. They go through all the tickets. You can get them as low as $24. Arizona at New Orleans.
That was going to be my guess.
$24 to go to that game.
In the Superdome.
In the Superdome.
So if you have never been to New Orleans, you've never been to the Superdome,
Right.
It'll cost you more to get down to New Orleans, get a hotel, and eat probably than it would to actually go to the game.
After that, there's a game, $41. Houston at the Rams, $41 ticket.
That's pretty good for LA.
Absolutely it is. And then the one more is Carolina at Jacksonville. The lowest ticket price is $68. The rest are in the hundreds right there. But
Interesting.
I thought Carolina Jacksonville would be the cheapest one, but Arizona at New Orleans. Do you know an Arizona Cardinal fan? Honestly.
No, I don't.
Me neither. Not a one. Not a one.
I will say I'm curious of how many Titans fans, it being week one, booked a trip to Denver. I love Denver. It's one of my favorite cities to go visit. The stadium, I still call it Mile High, is awesome. And you would appreciate this. You walk in, and Minnesota had this too, but one of the interests is you walk in and they have every high school football helmet
I love that.
from the Denver
That's
area.
cool.
Or actually, it may be the whole state of Colorado, but they have them there. But Mile High is a really cool stadium. Denver, there's a lot to do. So I'd be curious how many Titans fans are going to make the trip. Because I know, we've talked to several that kind of go one trip a year. Vegas is obviously on the schedule this year. A lot of people are going to do that, but Denver's a fun one. So I'd be curious.
Well, there are 4 games Sunday in the afternoon window. There is Houston at Los Angeles, Detroit at Green Bay, which all eyeballs be on that one. San Francisco at Seattle, and Tennessee at Denver. That game kicks off at 3:05. The over-under on Sunday, Chase, is 42.5. And I mentioned that to you, and it took you less than a quarter of a second to say
Under.
You are taking the under. Why?
Because I think it's the first game of the year. Both teams are going to be sloppy. I don't expect the Titans offense to be able to put up a ton of points against that defense. And I don't know what Bo Nix is yet. I know he had a good rookie year, but is he going to take a sophomore slide? Who knows? But I think just being the first game of the year, and Vegas obviously feels like they know something, setting it that low for an NFL game. I don't think you're going to see a ton of offense.
8.5. You like that? Denver getting 8.5?
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, I would lay the points. I think Denver wins by 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think Denver wins.
I
think there is one coach that is very well aware of the spread and the total.
Dabo?
Nope.
I don't know.
Lane.
Oh, yes.
I think Lane, because it's just there's so many times. Prime example, I had a parlay one time with Ole Miss, and I needed Ole Miss to cover, I think I took them at 10.5 or something.
Right.
And there's 2 minutes left in the game, and they're up by 8. And I'm like, well, I'm going to lose this. They're not going to cover. And damned if he doesn't run the ball all the way down the field and score. And I just looked at Ricky, and I was like, he knows. He 100%. And it's not for him. I think it's for the fans. But, he knows what they needed. And I think they hit the over, and they cover the spread by doing that.
They are 8.5 favorite over Kentucky, over under 50.5.
Ole Miss I think Ole Miss wins by at least 2 touchdowns.
They might score 50.
Kentucky's not good. Kentucky's a bad team.
They are, but they also know winning that game sets their season.
It does. It does. Is it at Kentucky?
It is at Kentucky.
Yeah.
2:30 start.
I don't know. I think Ole Miss. Again, Ole Miss is a team, and you said it more than anybody. What has Lane Kiffin won? Ole Miss is a team that it's time for them to flex.
It
And
is.
they haven't had many times where they flexed with him as the coach.
It is. Yep.
So I think we all believe they're the better team in this game. If they're the better team, they need to show it.
All right, let me ask you this then. Game we're going to Middle Tennessee at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's favored by 28.5. The over-under is 45. What is Vegas telling you?
28.5 over-unders. They're saying that Middle's not going to score a lot of points. That's what it's kind of saying to me. And they look, I'm curious. We talked to Coach Mason. We talked to Chris Massaro. The bounce back. What's the response by this team? I think it's still a work in progress, and you got derailed because you lost to a team you shouldn't have lost to, and they all know that, and so you're not feeling very good about yourself.
Right.
I mean, if we're sitting here being realistic, Wisconsin is a Big Ten program that is just built differently.
It is. It is.
And so yes, you want to go in there and you want to fight and you want to scratch and you want to claw, but on paper, by all practical purposes, they're a better team than you are.
They are.
And so, it's a tough spot to be in after last week.
All right, thoughts on one more real quick. Arkansas State, Butch Jones, they take on Arkansas, I was told, for the first time ever.
Really?
Now, Arkansas is favored by 23. The over-under, 65. What's Vegas telling you?
What was the spread?
Arkansas by 23.5, over-under 64.5. Is Vegas telling you that because this is a rivalry within the state that Arkansas is going to lay the smack on them?
Yeah, I think they're saying Arkansas is probably going to put up a lot of points. But Arkansas State would probably add some too. I think they're factoring in maybe a couple garbage time touchdowns.
Those got to kill you too, right?
Oh yeah. That's why I typically bet overs. It's the weather has to be bad. There's got to be some different type conditions for me to look at an under and go, okay, I feel good about that.
Now, a game we can catch when we get back from Wisconsin Saturday night. Sam Houston, Conference USA team at Hawaii. The game kicks off at 10 o'clock our time, over under 49.5. It's funny because Sam Houston, Hawaii. How many people in Vegas watching that game?
They'll be watching them in sports books.
Right.
I've wandered into a sports book so that would be 8 o'clock Vegas time. I've wandered into a sports book at 8 o'clock and they're watching these games that, I've seen sports books pretty busy for a Hawaii game. Because, Hawaii's always the last one. Because it's it's something to bet on, something to watch.
All right, one more game for Chase McCabe. What is Vegas telling us? Louisiana Monroe at Alabama. Alabama's favored by 34.5, over under 49.5. What's Vegas telling us?
Expect pain. You're going to have a pissed off Alabama team. Look, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm saying to my guys, please, for the love of God, can you just kick their teeth in? I hate letting it out on them, but I need you to go out and just dominate.
Is it weird to see, and you know more about this than I do, when an over-under and the spread are close that way? Because it's only it's 15 apart.
Yeah, that's because they see it as a very one-sided game. Always fun, for sure. Yep. Coming up next, Faux Show. Coming up next, John McClain going to join us. We'll talk some NFL with him. I actually have to step away for a second for some suit duties, so Joe will handle the first segment, but John McClain joins next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
it's not the fashionable to pick the Chiefs again, and I'm not, because Super Bowl losers don't go back to the Super Bowl, but I still think they're going to win the division. Some people are picking Denver because they have great defense, and Bo Nix in his second season at quarterback, picking them to dethrone Kansas City. I just don't see it. And but they're going to be really good. Teams are still going to be gunning for them, like the Cowboys were gunning for the Super Bowl champions last night. And you're a Super Bowl champion for a reason, Joe, and it's because you can overcome adversity. You can come from behind. And that's why the Eagles are the defending champion and the Chiefs went to 3 in a row.
Absolutely. John McClain is with us today. Now, you speak about Denver. We talk about the Titans and the Denver Sunday in the Mile High Stadium. I'm going to start on the Denver side of this with Sean Payton. You know, when Drew Brees left him, some ex-players came out and said Sean Payton is nothing without Drew Brees. How much is this sort of a, I don't want to use the word redemption for Sean Payton, but how much you think he's enjoying this now? Because he's got Bo Nix rolling well. He's got a good defense. It's a very good football team he has.
If you go back and look at the Hall of Fame and all the Hall of Fame coaches, how many didn't have great quarterbacks? Almost every one of them. Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks you will never mention in the same sentence as Super Bowl. And I think that Sean Payton has drafted Bo Nix when everybody else said he should go in the second round. He's a really good quarterback coach, but he didn't have a great quarterback after Brees retired. Now he's not. Nix is not great, but he showed he's got a chance to be. So I think, yes, that's a good way to put it. Redemption. But he also has a great defense, best one in the league, most sacks. What a difficult start for Cam Ward and the Titans offensive line to go to the Mile High City and play the best defense in the NFL.
John, does it concern you or anything because Cam Ward did not play pretty much into the second quarter, into the preseason games? Basically, he hasn't played a full game since last November versus Syracuse. Is that a concern going into this opening game?
I don't think so. It's just not the way of the football world anymore. I think Brian Callahan and his staff know what's best. The fact is, he's a rookie. If he'd have played all 3 games, he's still going to screw up because he's a rookie playing against a great defense. And they saw him in joint practices. And as we've talked about before, coaches would much rather have joint practices to see their players than preseason games.
Oh, absolutely. We talk a lot of hypotheticals, you know, this in the sports talk world. And we're about this game Sunday between the Titans and the Broncos, just how monumental it is for the Titans in so many ways. New GM, number 1 pick, everything coming together. And if they could come out of there with a win on Sunday, John, and you covered this football team for a long time, I think it could be one of the biggest wins this franchise has ever had. And I'm going back to 1960 just because of everything that's put together right now for the Tennessee Titans.
I think it would be, and I would have to go back over every season, but for a quarterback in his situation and a team in their situation, being the worst in the NFL, and I've said if they could double their victory total this year and get to 6, everybody should be happy about the progress they're showing in Callahan's second season. But if they could pull an upset, and that would be shocking, and people would come back and start talking about a playoff team, which would be grossly unfair, but I certainly wouldn't pick it. I think if they could just play close and look good and show people this is a different Titans team, then that would show progress.
John, appreciate it as always. The NFL Week 1 is here. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk next week.
Guys, thank you very much. Good luck to the Titans.
That's John McClain, presented by Maple Street Biscuit Company. Wake up to wow. Coming up next, we keep the football talk going with our man Chris Sanders. He joins the program next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Chiefs actually lost a Super Bowl. And I don't think, as I told Joe, I don't think Super Bowl is in destiny for the Chiefs again, because the Super Bowl loser doesn't go back. But the Broncos still have a young offense. And teams are going to play Bo Nix differently, just like we saw that last year with C.J. Stroud. Those defensive coordinators have had the entire offseason to watch every single play. So Nix is going to face a lot different than he faced last year. One of the good things, though, Payton's an excellent play caller. I'd be more worried about their defense. They do a great job on defense. Besides being smart schematically, they've got great strategy and game plan. And, they've watched every tape of every throw they could get their hands on by Cam Ward. They'll try to shut down Pollard in the running game, put Ward in passing situations, try to keep him from running because he's so great with his feet. And I would expect he'll run 5 to 7 or 8 times because he's going to be under pressure and he's going to bail. And I can't wait to see what kind of game plan they have. They got to be able to run the ball, and that starts with what they need from the offensive line, which is a terrific performance.
John, appreciate it as always. The NFL Week 1 is here. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk next week.
Guys, thank you very much. Good luck to the Titans.
That's John McClain, presented by Maple Street Biscuit Company. Wake up to wow. Coming up next, we keep the football talk going with our man Chris Sanders. He joins the program next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Yes,
Come on.
crazy. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. There'll be games. I think after that we played Cleveland, so I would have 2 for 90, and then the next game and then we'll play the Cincinnati Bengals. When I caught my first touchdown, I had 2 for 104. So it was kind of like that. So every time I caught the ball, it was for chunks and chunks of yards. Oh, listen, my rookie season only had 35 catches for 824.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and then on flip side, I made the all rookie team because and then I had 9 touchdowns. But every pass that I caught was chunks and chunks of yards.
I'm looking at the stat. I mean, that's I don't know if any rookies come close to. I'm sure some have, but that's just amazing looking at that. I mean, and you got over the butterflies, and there you go, man. Hopefully, Cam can do the same thing.
Yeah, and there was times where I caught some passes and I ran the wrong route, but I scored because Les Teckle was going to get on me because there was times where I ran the wrong route because I was so nervous. But then they turned into touchdown. He said, "Chris, I love the touchdown, but don't you ever do that again." So it was those things that you did that were absolutely fun.
Chris Sanders is with us, Forever Titans wide receiver. Did you notice did Steve change from his first start to the last time you played with him? Because I feel like he was always stoic.
It's not that he was stoic. He was it's like he was asleep before the game. He had things that he did to calm him down. Like we would have to go wake him up before the game, and he'll have the towel over his face, and he'll be like, "Oh, we got a game," and then he'll go out and run and throw a pass. It was just that's how he handled these things. I never ever seen once that Steve McNair really raised his voice or cuss or yell at anybody. He was just kind of like, "I'm here to do my job. I'm here to make plays, and I want y'all to follow me." And that's just kind of cat that he was. He fell asleep before the game. After the game, he rides in the car to his car. Then he comes to practice. He says hi and just kind of jokes with people. But at the end of the day, quality player, quality guy who I'm absolutely going to miss. Rest in peace, number 9.
Yeah, and the thing with Cam Ward is now he likes to chirp a little bit. And, and Steve didn't really do that from what I could tell. And so, and I like that. I think that, gives you confidence, maybe a little cocky, but it's okay. It's okay. But I do feel like there is that he kind of does it in a calm way.
Yeah, he does. But it made Jeffrey Simmons mad in practice. You got to be careful who you do it to. I mean, you got to do it to, you got to look on the defense and find the smallest guy and do it to him. Don't do it to Jeffrey Simmons, who can bench press the whole stadium. You just got to know who you got to do it against. But at the end of the day, that's the thing that motivates Cam Ward. He loves to joke. He loves to be carefree because that's how he plays. Look at what he did in college and look at what he does. I don't know what they do when they cover their mouth and they wave. I don't know what that means, but that's something that he does, and a lot of people kind of follow in his lead.
Forever Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders here on this Friday. Chris, we're going to miss you Sunday. I know you got some NBA coaching duties, but we'll look forward to having you on the pregame show for most weeks, including the home opener against the Rams next week with you, Big Joe, and D-Mace.
Hey, can I say this? It'll give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Take this time out to tell somebody that you love them. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your uncle. Give them flowers today. So what I want to do is I want to give my flowers today. Joe, I love you. Big Chase, I love you. And I want to say it is an honor to be on the show each and every week. So I just want to say I love y'all and I appreciate y'all as my brothers, man. Love y'all so much.
And we love you too, Chris, and always appreciate you and the fun banter that we have. And I did want to tell you this, that had you not called into silly underdog picks, I was prepared to give you Louisiana Monroe.
Oh, see, okay. When we beat FRA, I'm getting the smallest NBA jersey I can find.
All right, you have a great weekend, Chris.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, joining us here on the program. Coming up next, if you missed our conversation earlier this week with ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck and Innsworth head coach, we're going to give that to you coming up next for a couple of segments because he had a lot of insight on Cam, on the NFL, and everything from a quarterback perspective. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Back here, chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Friday. We're joined by the head coach of the Innsworth Tigers and ESPN NFL analyst, Tim Hasselbeck, who joins us now. Tim, what's up? How you doing?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
We are fantastic. Man, I know it was a tough one, but man, what a game. Like, I was keeping up with it while I was doing my game, and I know it had to be crazy being the head coach in that one, but Nashville Christian, was it 2 overtimes, ends up winning the game? But
no, just one overtime.
Okay, just one.
We got the ball first. We score, kick an extra point, and they score, win for 2, and that did it. So yeah, it was obviously a good competitive high school football game, and those are fun. Those are good for the kids to be able to remember and hopefully learn and grow from. And so yeah, it was we obviously didn't come out on the side of it that we wanted to, but yeah, I guess what was it, 42-41? Those are exciting games.
Did you think about going for 2, or was it just kind of like, no, not
because we had the ball first? No. I think that listen, you can always go back. Like, when we, I guess, scored in regulation, we could have gone for 2. Not that it made sense, but like you would have then been up 9. I was actually talking to Ben Jones about that. I think Houston had done that to the Titans a few years ago, because for all intents and purposes, it can end the game at that point. So yeah, I mean, I like on that stuff of when you go for 2, do you go for 2? Like, I think when you get the ball first, at that point, you just say, all right, we score a touchdown, we're going to kick the extra point. If you go for 2 and get it, then you just continue to play, and then they can make the decision whether or not they want to, go for the win in overtime.
So I do have to ask, as we kind of, move into the NFL stuff, Jared Curtis, you got to see him firsthand, obviously highly recruited, going to Georgia. What'd you think watching him? Some of the highlights I saw, were some big boy type throws.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously like a very talented kid, and can really throw the football. I think the thing that really was the big difference in our football game is he's an excellent runner. I mean, I think that, like, ultimately, I think he only threw for about 180 yards on us. We dropped a couple interceptions. Like, that wasn't the thing. The thing was, for a kid his size, his ability as a runner. Not only just power, because he's, probably around 220 pounds, I would guess, but, his elusiveness as a runner. There were times we had free runners and just, weren't able to get him down. So I think that, when you see a kid that is, this applies to him and applies to really anybody else. If you're a quarterback that's viewed as, one of the top guys in the class, generally speaking, you have physical tools that, the colleges are excited to work with. So yes, ability to throw the football, yes, size, the measurables, and then your ability to move. And so, I think that's, look, I mean, he could start on the defensive line for us. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the reality of, like, how big and strong and agile he is.
I thought you would come on, Tim, and give us a Belichick answer and say, we're on to whoever this week. Who do you got this week?
So we go out to Briarcrest and play Briarcrest this week. No, listen, man, people, I think, in some ways, we're not, like, I guess what have I been here, not even 2 seasons now. Look, we've lost 2 games. You know what I mean? Like, we're not used to losing.
Right.
He cut out.
We got to upgrade. Tim's got a cricket phone at Innsworth, which is unacceptable. We got to figure out, get Tim a new phone. All right, Tim's back. Hey,
back
Tim.
To Tim.
Hey,
hi, Tim.
Tim, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, good. No, I think you said expecting a coach answer or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, man, like, I think, look, I never, took a job in coaching, especially at this level, and thought, hey, like, we won't lose games, like, we won't do that. Like, and what I said to our team, and like, I said, if you play high school football and you lose a game, and that means that, like, somehow it destroys your season or destroys your following week, then you've completely missed the point of high school football.
Right.
Like, myself included. Like, to me, look, we could lose 5 more games this year, but if we improve every week on a number of different levels, Like that's the point. Like that's the idea. Like that's and truthfully, if we lose 5 more games in the regular season, but improve every week, then we'll be way better as a team and as young men than we would be if we won every game in the regular season, thought everything was fine, didn't get things corrected and fixed, and went into the postseason. Like we will be. And so I'm excited I'm excited about that. So I have no problem saying like, hey, listen, like we have unique challenges each and every week. And like that's the beauty of high school football and the growth that you can see in kids every week.
Preach it, baby. We love it. Tim Hasselbeck on the Chasing Big Joe show. Talk about NFL now. I was reading about Sean Payton talking about their preparation for Cam Ward, and he said, we're going to do a deep dive into Cam Ward and what he did at Miami for his tendencies, because there's not a lot of tape on him in the preseason. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, or is that the only way you can go?
Yeah, it's the only way you can go. And like, he says that, but like, I don't know how far, you can go down there without preparing for the personnel that you're going to face. The reality is that like, Brian Callahan, is a very different play caller, than what's down there in Miami. So like, I just think that, I think you can do that. I don't think you're going to find, tendencies and things of that nature. A lot of times week one, when you get someone unfamiliar, whether that's a new coordinator or a new player, you just are a little more base, in terms of what you do. You're not as, game plan specific as you would be in some other scenarios. And so I think that's really, what will happen, when you look at how Denver decides to approach the game defensively.
Tim Hasselbeck is with us. Micah Parsons, do you think Jerry may have duped us all and knew something? And I'll never forget you were on before the Titans drafted Caleb Farley, and you made the comment of, have you ever met anybody that used to have a bad back? So whenever I see a bad back injury, I'm like, oh, that's something to pay attention to. Is Jerry maybe a little smarter than we give him credit for?
Wait, can we all answer the question though? Do you know anyone that used to have a bad back?
No.
You're right.
No.
Right? I don't know anyone. I still to this day, I don't know anyone that used to have a bad back. Anybody I know that has a bad back still has a bad back. And I don't care if they are 15 or 55. Like it doesn't matter. So look, do I think that he knew something? Listen, every team that has a player knows their medical history better than everyone else. So that's the case. Now, with whatever Micah's got going on in his back and the true details of it are, he's one of the – I don't think you can argue that he's not one of the best 3 pass rushers on the planet, even with his back the way that it is. So, like, did he know something? Maybe so. But, like, would they have been okay to make him the highest paid, non-quarterback? They would have. So, no, I don't think that he's playing checkers or chess when everyone else is playing checkers on the injury history of Parsons.
We'll have more with Tim Hasselbeck coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, continuing our discussions with Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, who is on the line with us. Cam Ward will make his NFL debut officially this week in Denver. What do you want to see from him in the first game? I know that's kind of a open-ended question, but having played the position, knowing that it's his rookie year, his first game, there's going to be all that pressure on him. He's been voted a captain by his teammates. Is it just as simple as keeping it simple?
I think it's what I would say for any young quarterback making their first start is, can you play well for the duration of the game, like well enough for the duration of the game to give your team a chance to win? And so, like, depending on, you know, how well your defense is playing, what's going on special teams, field position, like that can look different each, you know, time out. But I think that if you give your team a chance to win in your first NFL start, like while it might sound like it's a low bar of expectation, I just, having seen a bunch of guys do it, I think it's a realistic bar. And I say that like in some regards, like I remember Eli Manning, you know, in a start against Baltimore, his rookie year was awful, had a 0 quarterback rating, like didn't give the team a chance to even be competitive in the game. Now, it doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback or any of those things, but it just means that, like, even good quarterbacks, guys that turn into being really good players as young quarterbacks, can become overwhelmed, you know, by an NFL defense that kind of has your number on a Sunday.
Tim, how would you, if you are Sean Payton, how would you attack Cam Ward on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the big thing would be, like, win on early downs and create known passing situations. Because if you win on early downs and you just look at Denver and their ability and their team, really in general, the defense, like they got good secondary players. I think they're pretty good at rushing the passer. And so if you can get into some of those known passing situations, that already is a win for the Broncos. So that would be the approach there. And then I think that what they'll do on the other side of the ball, and I think it's just somewhat Payton's identity, they're going to run the football, but they're going to move the quarterback around. And moving the quarterback around, I think, is going to create a bunch of problems for people, not just, you know, week one, but I think throughout the year when they face Denver.
How do you Broncos run a 3-4, which, you know, probably a third of the teams in the NFL do that. Is that good for Cam Ward? They're running a 3-4. I know the inside is going to be covered up and all that, but do you like that instead of like a 4-3 attacking Cam Ward?
Yeah. I think most people would rather face a 4-down front. The reality is in the NFL, though, is that you get variations, even, you know, on teams that declare themselves as a 3-down front. You get 4-down variations, and in some cases, you know, jam or bear, whatever you want to call it, variations every single week. And then when you get to third down, you know, usually kind of has its own identity in terms of a lot of 4-down teams become 3-down on third down, or vice versa, you know, if they're a 4-down team. So you face it all, you have to see it all. And really the challenge each and every week is, okay, how does that affect our rules? But I would say, generally speaking, on base first and second downs, it is easier, especially in the system that Cam is playing in, to play against a 4-down front. So no, he won't have the benefit of seeing that week one.
Well, what would you tell him if you got 30 minutes with him Sunday morning at 9 o'clock? Well, what would you tell Cam Ward? Like, all right, your first start, here's what you need to remember. What would you tell him?
Well, so here's what I think that he does really well that I don't think he would need a reminder on. When you watched him play in the preseason, I know limited sample, he seemed calm. The game didn't seem to move fast. Sometimes with young quarterbacks, they're so amped up that like their feet are moving so fast that it doesn't sync with like the depth of the receiver's routes, just because they're moving so fast and they just kind of skip from like 1 to 2 to 3, like so quickly in the progression. I don't think that he really plays that way. I think that there's a natural calm about how he plays the position that I think is really good. So I believe the message that I would have for him would be along the lines of like, you're not out here by yourself. And so I think I talked to you guys about just his aggressiveness, you know, in the limited preseason action. Like, so 1st and 10 is okay to throw the check down for 3 yards. You stay on schedule. And I think there are elements that we just always seen from him, where he trusts his arm, he's aggressive with the football, and while there's a time and place for that, like there are a lot of quarterbacks that play a long time in the NFL by just chipping away and being like, all right, you're going to give me that, then I'm going to throw that. It's 3rd and 8, and you gave me the 3-yard check down. That's cool. I'll throw it. And maybe you'll rally up and make the tackle, but maybe you don't. And so, like, I think that would be how I would want him to play early on.
I like it. I often go back to what Mike Holmgren told Favre, like the 3rd year he had him. He said, I'd rather the guy in the 3rd row catch your pass instead of the strong safety. And I'm like, just throw the ball away. It's okay to throw the ball away.
Yeah. And another Holmgren, Bill Walsh one is, you know, not going to go broke taking a profit, you know? And so that's the message on first down, right? Like, that's like, look, if you do that, then we have a chance. It's easy to call a game when, you know, you're 2nd and 7, 3rd and 3. It's hard to call a game 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11, you know, 3rd and 8 plus, 3rd and 11. Like, it's hard to call a game that way. And so, if it's hard to call a game that way, it's certainly hard for guys to play well in that environment.
Talking with Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst. What division in the NFL intrigues you the most going into this season?
I think the NFC North is really interesting because I think the chance to be all really good teams. Like, we know Detroit's really good. Green Bay is going to be really good. Minnesota, if they're right about the quarterback, might be better than they were a year ago. And then what we saw from Chicago was like, oh, shoot, like, you know, like they definitely have a super talented quarterback. They have a roster that's not as bad as, you know, people probably thought that it was when they were picking to the top of the draft, and, you know, an offensive guru. So, like, that to me, like, find me another division where you're like, yep, any of the 4 teams have a very good shot to win it. Like, I don't know that there's another one that I feel that strongly about.
No, I agree with that. I am curious of the AFC West, you know, simply because we're always waiting for Kansas City to hit a wall that doesn't exist. But I think the Chargers should be better. The Broncos, we saw an improvement, and I think the Raiders will be better too. So I'm curious of that one.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. I do think the Raiders will be more competitive. You know, the Chargers lost their left tackle, and so while they'll get by, I think that'll come back to bite them when it really matters. And you said it's an invisible wall. Like, when you think about maybe the best defensive coordinator ever in football, a guy that I think is in the conversation, one of the best coaches ever, and then a quarterback that is probably as good as any quarterback we've ever seen. So, like, you know, I think we're going to be watching for a while before someone takes Kansas City off.
How worried should the Rams be? Because Stafford hasn't practiced, and again, we're talking backs and those things. And
what was wrong with him again? Yeah, what was wrong with him?
He used to have a bad back, apparently. No,
he used to have but then they did that surgery thing to fix it and make it feel better.
Yeah,
is that what they did?
Yeah,
when they like slice open your back and it's real delicate because it's like, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So I mean, like
that. Hey, remember? Hey, do you guys remember when Tiger Woods had that bad back and then he got over it? Remember that?
Yeah, he did. He really did. He did so much after that.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Tim, I really want to like Miami and Mike McDaniel. I really want to like him. I just don't think it's a good fit. And I'm not asking you to say, is he on the hot seat or whatever, but what's going on there? Because I think he brought some new ideas, fresh. He had Tua there, and now it just seems like it's just chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, I think managing the personality is one thing, and he obviously is like a very kind of easygoing, cool, like doesn't feel like it's all kinds of discipline. And I think that ultimately, you know, that'll swing back around, and you'll have a problem because not everybody conducts their business with the same maturity that they should, right? And so I think that is going on there. I think they're in a division with a really good team in the Bills. And so while you can have an incredible regular season, you know, or good, you know, lead the league in passing and all the stuff, like you still need to get through Buffalo. And it's hard to do that. And then on top of it, you know, you kind of get viewed as a little bit of a finesse team, and you have some personalities that aren't incredible. So, you know, I think those are, like those are the things. Like, do I think other coaches would be doing better with their talent? Like, I don't really think they would be. Now, do I think there might be some more discipline potentially? But I also think you're dealing with some personalities that, like, I'm not sure Bill Parcells would have been able to control.
Interesting. Yeah, I want to like him. I really want to like that team and what he does, and it just seems like they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, but wouldn't you agree though? Like, there's I don't want to say like an unprofessionalism. I think that's unfair and unfair characteristic. But like, he's from the Gary Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan tree. Well, like, look at some of the other guys like McVay or Kyle Shanahan. Like, while they're not necessarily they don't look like Bill Cowher. There's like a seriousness and intensity that's a little bit different. And I'm not saying coaches, need to be, act like somebody else.
Right.
But I do think that there's just like minimum accountability that, like, because you're dealing with some people that, maybe are immature or selfish, that I just think you need to implement to make sure that you have a healthy roster at all times.
He is Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst and the head coach of the Innsworth Tigers. Who you got Friday? Briarcrest?
We play at Briarcrest. Yes, at Briarcrest Friday. I think someone told me Darren McFadden's son is the tailback there. So
wow. Shouldn't you know that?
Have our hands full once again, you know what I mean? Well,
Don't ask us.
You know what's funny? Well, I can tell you his number, and I can tell you he's a good player.
Right.
But, like, I don't know their names. Like, there aren't names on the back of the jerseys. I'm not. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't. Like, I couldn't tell you anyone's name from last week. You know what I mean? Other than the quarterback. Like, you know what I mean? Because people talk about him.
Right.
But, like, you don't. Yeah, I don't. But I tell you the number. I tell you, I give you a scouting report.
I like
that. I don't know their name.
Is that what you do with Taylor? He comes down for breakfast, and you're like, 8, how you doing? Or whatever his number is.
He's 7.
7.
So it just means you haven't been coming over to games.
I'm sorry. I just assumed.
No. I know our own guys. Like, that's actually something that drives me crazy. I used to hate announcing games, and I'd talk to coaches about their own players, and they'd be like, "What's 15's name?" I'm like, "Wait a second. Like, that's awful. Like, no. I'm good on my guys. I'm saying opponents. They're just like, I know their number, and we've got a little scouting report on them, but like, I won't always know their name."
Let me ask. I know you got to go real quick. I called a game tonight, Middle Tennessee and Austin Peay. Austin Peay's got like 71 new players. Tim, I know that's the state of college football now, but as a coach, I mean, would that not just drive you batty? Like, you'd have to put the old tape out to write the name on the helmet.
Well, yeah, and I one of the best points about that was made to me was from Dave Dorn, who's the head coach at North Carolina. He said one of the biggest problems when you have that kind of turnover on a roster is that none of the guys have any shared adversity with one another.
Ooh.
They haven't had the mat drill workouts in the winter, and they didn't, they haven't walked through life and the ups and downs of life. And so when you're trying to get your team connected, you don't have the shared experience of adversity with one another to create the bond and trust and respect that you would often have. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the really big challenges that these, teams have, that just have so many new players, and just making sure that, they appreciate one another, because they haven't walked through the adversities of life with each other.
I think that is the best thing I've ever heard on this radio station, and I'm being 100% correct with you. That shared adversity is fantastic.
Can you do this then? Can you do this then? Can you scratch that first part out where I credited Dave Dorn and we just make it my own?
Done.
We can do that.
Okay.
Tim, appreciate it as always, my friend. Thank you.
All right. See you, fellas.
Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst and the head coach at Innsworth, joining us here on the program. Good stuff there. Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays with a special guest. Jim of Woody and Jim will join us here on 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, wrapping things up here on this Friday. We're excited to head to Madison, Wisconsin with MTSU as they take on the Badgers. So look forward to that. Pre-game coverage gets underway tomorrow at 1:30 on Totally Hits 93.3. And speaking of Totally Hits 93.3, that's where you can hear the Woody and Jim show every weekday morning from 5 to 10. Jim is with us now. Hi, Jim. We're good, except that mic's not working. Oh, here we go. There it is.
Hey guys,
Take two.
Go Blue Raiders!
Live radio.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's been, I guess, over a year now since you guys have been back.
Yeah,
and
we
Gina's in the fold.
Hit the anniversary over the summer, and yeah, we have a great co-host, and Totally Hits 93.3 is a blast.
Yeah,
it's great to see it grow.
Well, we have loved having you guys in the building, and Gina too, obviously, who worked here before, so it's good having her back. But we figured we'd recruit you for what day is it in Celebrity Birthday, so we appreciate you being able to do that.
I'm always the self-esteem builder because I'm terrible at this game, so you guys are going to feel awesome about yourselves.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna have fun. So with that, let's get to it. Dr. Crane, of course, had some hosting duties this morning, so Joe's going to handle what day is it. But it's brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc. All of your commercial construction needs under one roof. JarrettCompaniesInc.com, above and beyond industry standards.
Now, Jim, feel free to comment after each one of these. What day is it? Today's Bring Your Manners to Work Day.
We need to do that every
Manners are a lost art.
They really are.
National 401k Day.
Don't have that. We're in radio.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't have that.
401ks. What kind of metals do I have in the backyard I can sell to the dump?
National Be Late for Something Day.
That's every day.
That's happens a little too much for me.
National Shrink Day, and it's about going to the psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
Well, I like that.
So not George Costanza.
Not George Costanza.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
National Cheese Pizza Day.
Every now and then you just need a cheese pizza.
Isn't that really the true way to judge a pizza? Like if you throw a ton of toppings on it, it might disguise a bad pizza. But if you're just eating a cheese pizza,
you know how good it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Now you guys would love this day and share with a good friend. National Chianti Day. If you are a census taker, I'd take the day off. I would knock on doors today. So
a little Hannibal Lecter.
That's
reference.
right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's move into celebrity birthdays. As always, you have to get these by 2. Jim, you're terrible at this game, but today's your redemption day.
Let's let Jim go first.
That's okay. All right,
He's our
Jim.
guest.
Today's birthday is the greatest James Bond of all time, George Lazenby. How old is George Lazenby today?
He's still around? Oh. Sean Connery was so old. And George Lazenby was before him, wasn't he?
Right. Yep.
Oh,
he was
I'm going to
after.
say 93.
85.
86. He was married to Pam Shriver, the tennis player, for many years.
Nice.
This guy, his real name is Michael Douglas, but there was already a Michael Douglas in Hollywood, so he changed his name to Michael Keaton. How old is the best Batman ever?
Love me some Michael Keaton.
Me too.
Night Shift, underrated movie.
Yes.
Love that movie. I'm going to say he's 63.
71.
74. Call
I know.
Call Starkist. It's a great line. Actress Rose McGowan.
Ooh.
Gosh. At 41? I know it's not even close.
I will say, I don't know. That's pretty close. 38.
52.
Oh,
Once engaged to Marilyn Manson.
That's right.
Long time ago. All right, come on down this list here. We keep going down. Love the pop-ups on this. I just watched him yesterday. He was Greg Sumner on Knots Landing. William Devane.
William Devane.
From 24 with, he was.
Oh, yeah. He's got to be up there. 72.
84.
86. Chase is up 2-0.
Crushing it.
Nice. Well done on that. Actress Christian Alfonso from Days of Our Lives.
It's never a Days of Our Lives guy. It could have been as a kid, I don't know. I'll just say straight up 58.
64.
62. Oh, Jay.
3-0. You still got time though, Jim.
Way too good at this.
That was just a guess.
TV personality, musician, lead guitar player for Don Johnson on the Great Heartbeat album. How old is Dweezil Zappa?
Frank Zappa's son, right?
Yep, right. Let's say 57.
That's a good guess. 58.
56. Jim, you're on
There
the
you go.
board.
There we go.
3-1. All right, we got 3 left.
No shutouts.
Bill Mazeroski, the baseball player.
Ooh.
No clue. 66. He's probably a young.
No, I think he's older. 68.
89.
Oh,
Not even.
Former Major League Baseball pitcher Jeff Brantley.
59.
63.
62. Last birthday, Chase gets the win. Our last birthday, Jim, you could save face.
Okay.
Former Kentucky basketball player Nazi Muhammad.
I was just talking to him the other day. I should have said early happy birthday. I'm going to say 49 of your Earth years.
52.
48.
Nice.
Oh!
But at the end, Chase wins 4-2. But you do, though. I'm proud of you.
It's more than I've gotten before. So I'll rack it up as a win. Hope you guys get to witness a win when you see the Blue Raiders.
All right, out the door real quick. One more for you. If you could tie it up. This is for Jim only.
All right.
Singer Terry Ellis of In Vogue. One of the most beautiful women in that band. I don't know which one it is, but they're all beautiful. One of the women in Vogue.
The beautifulest. I will say 51.
62.
Oh,
well, she doesn't look it.
No,
None
not
of
at
them
all.
look over 40. Beautiful.
Not at all. Jim, thanks for doing this. The Woody and Jim podcast. You can get that.
Yeah, just wherever you get your podcasts, we are there.
Awesome.
Just search Woody and Jim, and we pop up.
Are you guys on YouTube?
No, we are not on the YouTube.
We need
Probably
to
should
get
get on YouTube.
We
That's
need to
the
get
hot
you on
thing.
YouTube.
Yeah, we should. We should. Well, I always thought it was going to be a fad.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
No, it's sticking around. It's sticking around. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
He is Jim of Woody and Jim on Totally Hits 93.3. That is going to do it for us.
Yeah, as we always leave the show, the weekend is here. To the guys out there, you know what to do. If you are struggling, please talk to someone, whoever it is. It's us, anybody. Please reach out, talk to somebody. If you need to talk professional help, just go to our website, thegamenashville.com. Click on the Chase and Big Joe show. There's a drop down for Unity Psychiatric Care. Help is just around the corner. You do not have to go through any of this alone. So we tell you all the time that we love you. More importantly, more than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Be nice to people. It's easy advice and it's free. Enjoy your weekend. We're back at it Monday at 12. Stick around. DVD coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.
They're ready to talk about the big topics in sports on your drive home. T-Mace, Bingen, and Donick. DVD coming up next. Your sports live here on 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Hey guys, it's Big Joe. You've probably heard me talk about it before. I've had my own battles with depression and anxiety. It's not easy to talk about, I tell you. Talking to a mental health professional changed my life. Therapy gave me a safe place to work through things, to breathe again. And I want that for you as well. Mental health experts all say, if you're going through a tough time, please don't push it down or try to do it alone.
Just talking to someone, being heard, can be the start of real healing. You don't have to carry it all by yourself.
Unity Psychiatric Care has caring professionals in Columbia and Clarksville who get it. You can see them in person or talk with them by telehealth. It starts with a phone call. Go to the website and click on